Every morning a war begins and the battlefield is your mind. Your alarm rings. 3 seconds, that's all it takes. To rise or to repeat. That choice decides whether you live by intention or by instinct. Marcus Aurelius faced the same war. Emperor of Rome, student of his own soul. He wrote at dawn, when you struggle to get up, remind yourself you were born to act as a human being. Even he fought the voice that whispers, 5 more minutes. But you're here because you're done losing that battle. You're here to rebuild the fortress of your mind, brick by brick, habit by habit, morning by morning. Because discipline isn't restriction, it's resurrection. It's not about punishing yourself, it's about freeing yourself. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. That's where freedom begins." So before we go further, breathe with me. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Say it softly, I am the master of my mind. Because this morning right now marks your turning point. This is where the Stoic way begins. 10 rules to discipline your mind every morning. Learn them once and you will never wake up the same again. Part 1, own the day. At the edge of morning, before the world begins its noise, you stand in a quiet courtroom. On one side, the world impatient, loud, demanding your attention. On the other, your mind still powerful, waiting for a command. The judge is you, and the verdict is about to be read. In for 4, out for 6. Say it with me, today is mine. 15 centuries ago, Marcus Aurelius, ruler of Rome and student of his own soul, rose before sunrise. He didn't pray for ease, he prayed for clarity. He wrote, "Do not waste the remaining part of your life in thoughts about others. Confine yourself to the present." That sentence is a key. Turn it and the door opens. This is rule 1, own the day before it owns you. Most people let their days happen to them. They wake, scroll, react. But Stoics saw each morning as wet clay waiting for a sculptor. If you don't shape it, noise will. Science confirms this. Your brain's first. 60 minutes set its chemical tone for the day. Start with chaos, you wire stress. Start with stillness, you wire clarity. The track you lay is the track you ride. Breath reset, in for 4, hold 2, out for 6. Whisper it, today is mine. Years after plague and war, Marcus faced a city full of fear. He could not command the weather or the politics, but he could command how he met them. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Power was always there, hidden until noticed. Mini ritual. Sit up, feet to floor, spine straight. Breathe 46 5 times. Say aloud, today is mine. Write one line. What would make this day worthy? Then move. Back good. Now you've taken the helm. Ownership is in control over everything. Its presence in what you can steer. Seneca warned, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. So start before you feel ready. Say it with me. Start before I feel like it. Choose one keystone measure, minutes of deep work before messages pages read, before phone steps in sunlight. Track it for a week. Identity shifts through measurement. That's physics, not motivation. Think back to the mornings you lost, scrolling, reacting, absorbing chaos. Now picture the ones you own, quiet, breath, one decision made before the world spoke. Feel the difference in your posture. That is Stoic engineering. Breath reset, in for 4, out for 6. Say softly, I own my day. Write this oath, if I squander this morning, I rehearse wasting my life. If I honor this morning, I rehearse a life of meaning. Sign it. Yes, sign it. 10 minutes away from your phone is 600 seconds return to your focus. Do that for 30 days and you recover 5 hours of pure attention. Not magic math. Marcus again, a limit is set to your time. If you do not use it to free yourself, it will be gone. So take the helm and own your morning. And once you own it, you must choose what fills it. That leads us to rule 2. Part 2, choose your first thought. Your first thought is the architect of the day. If the first line your mind speaks is not again, the walls tilt. If it says, I choose how I respond, the house stands tall. Breath reset. Say it, I choose my thoughts. Marcus wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Your thought is the steering wheel. Your actions are the road that follows. Every morning, 3 intruders, not catastrophe, self-doubt, comparison. If you don't question them, they move in rent-free. Stoics used a simple weapon, the one-line reframe. Write the toxic line, strike it, and rewrite the truth. Whatever comes, I will meet it. I do hard things in small steps. I compete only with yesterday. Say it with me, I compete with yesterday. A Roman student once asked, how do I stop anxious thoughts? The teacher smiled, don't stop them, sort them. Stoics call this the discipline of assent, deciding which thoughts to let inside your mind's city. Not every traveler is a friend. Tomorrow morning, practice the 60-second sort. When a thought arrives, name it. This is fear. This is laziness. Then ask, is it helpful? Is it true? Does it make me better? If not, let it walk past your gate. Breath reset. Whisper, notice, name, choose. And remember, many first thoughts aren't even yours. They're leftovers from other people's nights, a headline, a scroll, a fear borrowed from a stranger. Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Don't pay rent on a room you don't live in. Here's your practice. Write a 30-word script you want to wake into. Something like, I wake with purpose. Breath is my anchor. I lead with calm. Small wins stack. I meet the day with courage and focus. Read it aloud each morning. It's not affirmation theater, it's cognitive priming. You choose the lens before the light hits it. 2 minutes of even breathing tell your body we are safe. Safety creates attention. Attention creates choice. Choice creates better thoughts. That's Stoic neuroscience. Say it with me. Breath before thought, thought before action. Tomorrow try this, feel your pulse, breathe 5 cycles. Read your script, then write 1 line. I will respond with, finish the sentence. 2 minutes total. That tiny ritual decides the tone of your day. If you don't do it, your first thought will be borrowed, a notification, a trend, a storm that isn't yours. The Stoic isn't anti-technology. The Stoic is pro-gatekeeping. Breath reset. Say softly, I choose how I respond. Marcus reminds us very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within your way of thinking. Your first thought is the foundation. Lay it with intention and your mind becomes unshakable. Comment, I choose my thoughts if you've written your script. Subscribe to keep training this discipline each morning. And in part 3, we'll learn how to put yesterday down without dropping its lesson, because momentum starts the moment you let go. Part 3, leave yesterday morning. Light doesn't just touch your face, it tests your memory. You wake up, but yesterday wakes up with you. The argument, the regret, the unfinished message. It slips quietly into your morning like a shadow wearing your name. You drink your coffee, but it drinks your peace. That's why the Stoics began their day not with goals, but with cleansing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. That wasn't about denial. It was about freedom. You can steer a ship by staring at the wake. Yesterday is water behind you stirring, echoing, but gone. If you let it steer you, you'll circle the same storms again and again. Take a deep breath. In for 4, out for 6. Say it softly with me, I release what I cannot change. Reflection is a teacher. Rumination is a thief. The first gives you wisdom. The second steals your will. Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And most of that suffering starts when the mind replays old scenes hoping for a new ending. But life isn't a film. It's a rehearsal only when you make it one. So here's your morning ritual, the 2-column close. Grab your journal, draw a line down the middle. On the left, write, learned. On the right, leave. Under learned, write 1 sentence you'll carry forward, maybe a lesson, maybe a truth. Under leave, write 1 sentence you'll lay down the judgment, the guilt, the noise. Then close the page. Touch the cover. Exhale. This small act tells your brain the file is closed. Now stand up. Change your scene. Open a window. Let the air move, because motion breaks memory's grip. Every time you move the body, you remind the mind that time has moved too. Say it again, file the lesson. Free the mind. A Roman soldier once asked a philosopher, how do I stop the thought that will not stop? And the philosopher replied, put it to work or put it away. If the thought gives you a step to take, take it. If it doesn't, it has nothing to give you. This is what the Stoics call the discipline of assent, the ability to accept, correct, or reject a thought before it rules you. Now ask yourself, what if what you're carrying isn't just a memory but an identity? The voice that says, I always fail, I always overthink. Marcus answered that, centuries ago, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So if you want a new life, start with new colors. You are not yesterday's costume. Here's a second exercise. The 3 lines of mercy. Write 3 sentences to yourself. Yesterday me did the best with yesterday's tools. To others, I release them from being the villain in today's story. To today, you will not pay the debt of what's already done. You're not pretending it didn't happen. You're choosing not to replay the pain. Say it one more time, today pays only for today. Let's do the math. If you spend 10 minutes every morning reliving the past, that's 70 minutes a week, 60 hours a year, 2.5 days given to a ghost. What could you build with those hours if you took them back? Picture Marcus washing his face with cold water before dawn. The water doesn't erase the past. It marks the transition. For the Stoics, every small act was a gate. Closing the journal, washing the face, opening the window. Not chores, rituals of separation between then and now. In for 4, out for 6. Say it softly. Guard the present. When a thought returns, test it with 3 questions. Is it about yesterday? Does it give me an action I can take now? If not, can I schedule it for later? If the answer is no to both, it's not a lesson. It's a loop, and loops belong in the past. Now anchor your mind with the Stoic triad. Marcus said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Seneca said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Close, choose, enter, say it, close, choose, enter. Here's a story. In ancient Rome, a craftsman ruined a statue a single crack across the marble after 30 hours of work. He refused to throw it away. He stared at it every day angry. Finally, his mentor took the hammer and broke it completely. Then they ground it into powder, mixed it into paint, and covered the studio walls. The broken marble made the room brighter. That's the lesson. The flaw became light. What could you turn into light today? Forgiveness doesn't mean permission. You can hold your boundaries and still release your burdens. Marcus began each morning preparing for difficult people, not to excuse them, but to prevent them from stealing his peace twice, once in reality and again in memory. So breathe. You are not your worst day. You are not your loudest mistake. You are the person who files the lesson and frees the mind. If you wrote your 2 columns, comment, release below, and share one thing you've learned. Subscribe if this made you breathe easier, because we're building mornings with no unpaid debts. And now that you've laid yesterday to rest, you must guard the gate. In the next lesson, control your mind. First, build the watchtower of awareness and decide who enters your attention and who stays outside the walls. Meet me there. Part 4, control your mind first. The world rushes to control everything, the schedule, the market, the people, the noise. But the Stoics knew the man who fails to control his mind will lose control of everything else. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That line isn't poetry, it's a weapon. And every morning your first battle isn't out there, it's in here. Before you face your emails, your boss, or your family, you must first face your thoughts. Inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 6. Say it softly. I am the gatekeeper of my mind. Imagine your mind as an ancient city. The walls are made of focus, the gates of attention, the guards of intention. Every morning you stand at those gates, and outside them waits an army, the regrets of yesterday, the fears of tomorrow, the opinions of others, the endless scroll of distraction. They all shout the same thing, let us in. If you open the gate to all of them, your city falls before the day even begins. But if you hold the line calm, firm, present, your kingdom stands. Marcus wrote, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." So the question isn't, what will the world throw at you today? It's, what will you allow inside? Say it with me. Not everything deserves entry. Here's your morning ritual before checking your phone, before letting the world's voice mix with your own sid. 30 seconds of silence. Notice the first thought that knocks. Ask it 3 questions. 1, are you true? 2, are you useful? 3, are you mine? If it fails even one test, don't open the gate. This is the Stoic filter, simple, brutal, freeing. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself, and self-mastery begins with mental immigration control. Every thought is a traveler. Some bring gifts, Others carry disease. You are the customs officer of your own peace. Say it again, I choose who enters. Modern research backs this up. Neuroscientists at Stanford found that the average person processes over 70,000 thoughts per day. That's roughly 48 thoughts per minute. But only 1% of them lead to any conscious action, the rest background noise. And noise is expensive. It drains dopamine, spikes cortisol, and kills focus, the currency of every meaningful life. The Stoics didn't have dopamine charts or brain scans, but they understood this truth: an undisciplined mind creates an undisciplined life. And every moment you spend reacting, not responding, you give away sovereignty. So here's a morning exercise to build your fortress: the 5-minute mind guard. 1. Sit or stand in stillness. 2. Imagine your mind as a room with one door. 3. Label every thought that enters, past, future, or present. 4. Keep only the present. 5. After 5 minutes, say aloud, the gate is clear. That's it. 5 minutes of mental strength training. No apps, no noise, no hacks, just you and awareness, sharpening each other like two blades. Say it with me: clear gate, clear day. Now a short story, Rome, the 2nd century. A general returned from war and went to see Marcus Aurelius. He boasted of the enemies he conquered. Marcus listened quietly, then said, "Tell me who conquered your anger?" The general bowed his head. Victory over others means little if you are still defeated by yourself. The mind is the first battlefield and the only one that matters. Seneca once wrote, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." You don't need a sword, you need awareness. Awareness cuts faster than steel. Inhale courage, exhale noise. Every time you control your reaction, you prove mastery. Every time you pause before replying, you rebuild the gate. And every time you say, "not now," to distraction, you reclaim your empire inch by inch. Marcus practiced this daily. He called it the discipline of perception. Every morning he reminded himself, "Things cannot disturb my mind unless I let them." Say it again: "I let nothing in without reason." Let's make this real. Try it tomorrow morning. Before the world begins, sit by your window. Look at the light breaking through the clouds. Ask yourself, what will I allow inside my mind today? Make it small. Maybe gratitude, maybe focus, maybe peace. Write it down. That's your morning gate pass. And when chaos knocks later, because it will open your pocket, look at that line and remember you already chose who gets in. Your empire will rise or fall at that gate, not because of enemies, but because of attention. Attention is the most valuable currency on earth. Where it goes, your life grows. So breathe with me. In for 4, out for 6. Say it: I am the gatekeeper. Guard it with presence. Protect it with silence. Rule it with reason. And when you can master your mornings, no noise, no person, no event will ever master you again. If this spoke to you, comment "gatekeeper" below and tell me what thought you'll allow in tomorrow morning. Subscribe for the next lesson, because in part 5, discipline over emotion, we'll train the heart to follow the mind, not rule it. Your empire of calm is waiting. Part 5, discipline over emotion. When your emotions rise, your discipline must rise higher. That's the law of mastery the Stoics live by. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." He wasn't denying emotion. He was reminding us emotion is natural, but reaction is optional. Inhale control, exhale chaos. Say it quietly: my emotions serve me, not rule me. There's a story that ancient philosophers love to tell. One morning, a Roman senator stormed into the forum, furious because someone had insulted him. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher, looked up and said calmly, "Did the insult wound your body?" The senator blinked. "No." "Then why do you bleed in your mind?" That's the paradox. Emotions are powerful servants, but terrible masters. Left unchecked, they turn kings into slaves and wisdom into fire. Modern science agrees. When emotion spikes the amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm, floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Heart rate rises, vision narrows, logic shuts down. That's why most regrets are born in the heat of reaction, not reflection. Say it with me: react less, respond more. Marcus faced betrayal, war, and death, yet he wrote in his journals with serenity. Not because he felt nothing, but because he trained his emotions like a warrior trains his sword. Every sharp feeling was a blade to be handled, not feared. He wrote, "A man becomes invincible when he cannot be disturbed by anything outside his reasoned choice. Invincible not because the world is kind, but because his mind is calm." Let's bring that into your life. Think about your mornings. The alarm rings, traffic honks, someone texts something rude, your plans shift. Most people collapse emotionally before breakfast, but you're practicing Stoicism. So before reacting, pause. Ask the three questions of emotional discipline. 1. Is this under my control? 2. Is this permanent? 3. Will this matter in 5 years? If the answer to question 1 is no, let it pass. If it's temporary, breathe through it. If it won't matter in 5 years, don't let it steal 5 minutes of peace. Every time you pause, you prove power. Every pause is a shield between impulse and integrity. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Freedom doesn't mean never feeling anger or fear. It means never being ruled by them. Let's make this practical. Here's a morning emotional reset exercise. The Stoic pause. Step 1. When you feel triggered, don't speak, breathe. Step 2. Label the emotion. This is anger. This is anxiety. This is pride. Naming disarms it. Step 3. Ask what would Marcus do if he felt this. Step 4. Act according to virtue, not emotion. Neuroscientists call this reappraisal. It shifts your brain from reaction to reasoning, from survival mode to sovereignty. Just 10 seconds of awareness can rewrite the next 10 hours of your day. Say it with me, 10 seconds to freedom. Imagine Marcus Aurelius waking before dawn. Rome still quiet, only the torches flickering in the halls of his palace. He would sit in silence and prepare for the day, repeating, "Today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, jealous, and surly." He didn't do this to complain, he did it to pre-forgive them. By expecting imperfection, he neutralized it. Try this tomorrow morning. Before leaving your room, whisper, "Someone will test me today, and I will remain calm." You've already won the emotional battle before it begins. Modern psychology echoes this Stoic wisdom. A 2022 Harvard study found that people who practiced daily pre-framing, mentally preparing for adversity, had 31% fewer stress responses and 42% higher focus retention throughout the day. That's not spirituality, that's neuroscience. The Stoics understood that peace is in the absence of emotion. It's emotion under command. Seneca said it beautifully. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Adversity is the gym where your emotions train under the weight of discipline. So here's your daily workout. When you feel irritation, practice patience. When you feel fear, practice courage. When you feel envy, practice gratitude. That's emotional transmutation, the Stoic alchemy of turning chaos into clarity. Marcus called this turning the obstacle into the way. He didn't run from storms, he learned to sail through them. And you can too. Remember, emotions are waves. You are the ocean. They rise, they crash, they fade, but the ocean remains vast and still unbroken. You are not your anger. You are not your anxiety. You are the calm beneath them. When you learn to master that calm, people will notice. Not because you're cold, but because you're composed. That quiet strength becomes magnetic. It's what Marcus called dignity of the soul. So breathe deeply one last time. Inhale patience, exhale noise. Say it, "I lead my emotions. They don't lead me." Because emotion without discipline is chaos. But discipline without emotion is emptiness. The Stoic balance is mastery fire with direction, heart with reason. Carry that fire quietly today. Let others shout, you will act. Let others react, you will respond. Because discipline is not suppression, it's sovereignty. And tomorrow when you wake, remember you don't need to be emotionless. You just need to be unshakable. If this resonated, comment "unshakable" below. Share this video with someone who lets emotions control their mornings. Because in part 6, start strong, finish stronger. Well, go beyond emotion into momentum, the invisible force that turns discipline into destiny. See you there, warrior. Part 6. Start strong, finish stronger. Every empire rises with its mornings. How you begin determines how far you go. And the Stoics understood momentum is not given, it's built. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself I have to go to work as a human being. Not as a machine, not as a slave, as a human with purpose. Inhale strength, exhale hesitation. Say it softly, I begin with purpose. Think of every morning like the forging of a sword. The first heat determines its strength. If you start your day distracted, anxious, rushing, your blade bends. But if you start with stillness, clarity, and focus, your blade holds through every storm." The Stoics never worshiped motivation, they trained momentum. Seneca said, "Begin at once to live and count each day as a separate life." Each sunrise was a rebirth, a clean slate, a silent challenge. Will you live today or waste it? Say it with me. The way I start is the way I finish. Modern psychology proves this ancient truth. Studies from Harvard and Stanford found that people who perform one intentional act within the first hour of waking, such as meditation and journaling or exercise, increase focus and mood stability by 43% for the next 12 hours. Your first victory shapes the next 1,000 decisions. So here's your Stoic morning blueprint, the way Marcus would have built his empire every sunrise. 1. Rise without negotiation. When the alarm rings, get up. Don't argue with your purpose. Every second of hesitation trains weakness. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." 2. Guard the first hour. No screens, no noise, no comparison. Just silence, breath, and reflection. Write down 3 things. What matters today? Oh, who you want to be today? Oh, what you'll refuse to waste energy on. 3. Do one hard thing first. The Stoics called it preemptive courage. Confront discomfort before it finds you. Cold shower, workout, writing, study. Because when you win your first battle, your mind obeys you for the rest of the day. Every morning is a rehearsal for your destiny. You either drift into it or design it. Marcus didn't wait to feel inspired. He acted first. That's why motivation fades, but discipline endures. Action creates emotion. Emotion does not create action. Start strong, not because you feel ready, but because you're building readiness. Say it with me, I move before I'm ready. Here's the secret the Stoics knew. Starting strong isn't about speed. It's about direction. Don't rush into the day, align with it. Start slow but deliberate. Breathe deeply. Set your spine straight. Anchor your mind to your values, not your notifications. The man who centers himself before dawn walks taller through chaos. Seneca warned, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. Focus is the true beginning of strength. It's not what you do at 8 a.m. that changes your life. It's what you refuse to do between 6 and 7. Now think about your evenings. Most people start strong and fade by noon. They lose steam. They drift into distraction. The Stoics despised half-finished effort. Marcus said, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest does not matter." He didn't speak about fireworks, he spoke about endurance. Because greatness is not built by bursts, but by consistency. Say it, I finish what I start. When you begin your day strong, the world will test you. Meetings, delays, people, distractions. But the way you end your day proves who you've become. A Stoic evening isn't collapse, it's closure. Reflect, don't regret. Ask yourself, what did I control today? What controlled me? What can I do better tomorrow? That's how you finish stronger, not by force, but by awareness. Breathe in, reflection, breathe out, noise. Let me tell you a story. In the winter of 174 AD, Rome was bleeding. Plague spread through the city. Soldiers deserted. And yet every morning, Marcus Aurelius would rise before the sun. He would write a single line in his journal, "Still I begin." 3 words, a lifetime of discipline. He didn't wait for the world to be ready, he moved because he must. That's what it means to start strong, to act in spite of the storm, not after it passes. So tomorrow when the alarm rings, don't think, move. Don't wait, breathe. Don't wish, begin. Because the way you start your day is the way you write your life. And if you finish stronger than you started, you've already won, no matter what the world says. The Stoics knew that every sunset is an audit. It reveals what you practiced when the light was still rising. Start with courage and with clarity. That's the Stoic loop, the discipline of dawn and dusk. Say it softly with me. Start with intention, end with integrity. This is how you build a mind the world can't shake. One morning at a time, one choice at a time, one finish at a time. Remember, strength is not in the start, it's in the follow-through. Every great empire is built not by the loudest morning, but by the quietest consistency. So tomorrow, warrior rise, strong move, steady finish stronger. If this inspired you, comment stronger below. Share this with someone who always quits halfway. Because in part 7, act now, don't wait well, learn the Stoic law of immediacy, how to turn hesitation into action and action into destiny. The morning is waiting. Don't just live it, own it. Part 7. Act now, don't wait. The greatest illusion of life is the word later. Later kills more dreams than failure ever could. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." That wasn't a call to fear, it was a call to urgency. To act now. Inhale, focus, exhale, delay. Say it softly. Later is a lie. Seneca said it best, while we wait for life, life passes. And he was right, we live as if time is renewable, as if the sun owes us another dawn. But it doesn't. Every morning you're handed 24 hours, all paid in full. Every second unspent is gone forever. The Stoics didn't fear death. They feared wasting life. Say it with me, now is all I own. Modern psychology echoes this timeless truth. Research from Harvard Business Review found that procrastination is not laziness, it's fear. Fear of imperfection, fear of judgment, fear of commitment. But the Stoics saw fear differently. Epictetus taught, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? Waiting was not patience. Waiting was decay. Think about your own life. How many dreams died on the altar of someday? How many times did you tell yourself, it'll start when I'm ready? And how many times did ready never come? Because here's the truth. You're not waiting for the perfect moment. You're avoiding the imperfect start. Marcus didn't wait to feel like an emperor before leading an empire. He acted and the feeling followed. Discipline first, clarity second. Say it with me. Action creates readiness. There is a story from Stoic history that still burns bright today. When Cato the Younger was a boy, he was told that Julius Caesar was becoming a tyrant. He didn't rant. He didn't whine. He walked straight to the Senate, climbed onto a marble step and shouted, "Then let us act like free men." He was 14. Courage doesn't wait for permission. It begins when conviction outweighs comfort. Inhale courage, exhale excuse. We live in an age of infinite options, but zero motion. Scrolling, planning, dreaming all look like progress, but they aren't. You can't think your way into greatness. You must move your way into it. Epictetus told his students, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Don't talk about your discipline. Show it in your mornings, your focus, your silence, your resilience. Say it again, I act, therefore I become. Modern neuroscience proves the Stoics right. The brain releases dopamine not when you achieve, but when you act. Each small step forward is a biochemical victory. That's why the first 30 seconds of movement matter more than 30 minutes of planning. Here's your Stoic action ritual. Every morning before thought, before overthinking, do one tangible thing. Make the bed. Write the first sentence. Step outside and walk. Send the message. Because the moment you act, your mind shifts from victim to creator. Say it with me. Motion is freedom. Seneca wrote, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And most of that waste comes disguised as waiting. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for signs. Waiting for someone else to believe in us first. But the Stoics had no interest in waiting. Marcus ruled, wrote, and reflected during war, famine, and plague, not after it. He once said, what stands in the way becomes the way. That wasn't metaphor, it was battle strategy. When the army hesitated, Marcus moved first. When the Senate debated, he decided. When fear whispered, not yet, he answered now. That's how empires are built, not in perfect conditions, but in decisive moments. Inhale, now exhale later. You see, hesitation has a hidden cost. Every time you delay, you weaken your will. Every time you act, you strengthen it. It's a muscle trained or atrophied by your choices. And like a muscle, it only grows through resistance. So train it. Every morning, give yourself 1 minute to act on something that scares you. Cold water, honest message, hard task. It doesn't matter what it matters when, and that when is now. The Stoics believe that time is the ultimate teacher, and it teaches one lesson over and over those who wait lose. Because the world moves while you hesitate. The opportunity doesn't vanish, someone else takes it. Say it softly, fear delays. Action delivers. Let's do a thought experiment. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius said, "I'll start journaling tomorrow." We would have lost Meditations, one of the greatest books in human history. Imagine if Seneca waited until he had more time to write letters from a Stoic. The wisdom of centuries would have been buried in silence. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution, and that execution begins each morning in the first 5 minutes after you wake up. So tomorrow, before you touch your phone, before your mind fills with noise, whisper to yourself now. Then do something, anything. The smallest act of courage breaks the biggest chain of fear. Say it one last time, I move now. Because motion is momentum. Momentum is mastery. And mastery is freedom. Act now, not later. Because later is a graveyard for greatness. If this message hit home, comment now below. Share this with someone who keeps waiting for the right time. And get ready, because in Part 8, Focus gives you energy well. Go deeper into how Stoics harnessed attention like a weapon to turn motion into momentum and momentum into peace. You've waited long enough. The time isn't later. The time is now. Part 8, Focus gives you energy. Energy is not something you find. It's something you free. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But there's a hidden meaning in those words, because the quality of your thoughts depends upon the direction of your focus. Breathe in clarity, exhale noise. Say it softly, focus is power. You see, most people are not tired, they're scattered. Their minds are leaking through 1,000 tiny holes: notifications, gossip, unfinished goals, fake urgency. Each distraction costs energy, not because it's hard, but because it's endless. Science calls it attention residue. Every time you switch tasks, a small part of your brain stays stuck on the last one. Studies from the University of California show it takes 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully regain focus after a single interruption. That's not just lost time, that's stolen life. Say it with me, energy follows focus. The Stoics knew this centuries before science. Epictetus told his students, "You become what you give your attention to." If you feed distraction, you breed exhaustion. If you feed focus, you breed strength. Marcus practiced this in the palace. Every morning before dawn, surrounded by servants and senators, he would sit in silence and write. No audience, no applause, just ink breath and thought. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That was not poetry, that was training. In for 4 out for 6. Whisper, I return to my center. The modern world drains us because it monetizes our attention. You are not the customer, you are the product. Every ping, every scroll, every trending sound is designed to slice your focus into fragments. And the more fragmented you become, the more powerless you feel. The Stoics reversed that formula. They saw focus as a spiritual act, the ability to choose what enters the mind's temple. Marcus wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your soul. Guard it like sacred ground." Here's your Stoic focus ritual. Each morning before the noise, take 3 minutes for the alignment drill. 1. Write down your one most important task. 2. Ask, if I finish only this, will today still matter? 3. Then remove one distraction: phone on airplane mode, silence messages, close extra tabs. This is not minimalism, it's mental warfare. Say it with me: one task, one mind, one flow. Let's look at the numbers. Neuroscience shows that the prefrontal cortex, the seat of focus, consumes 25% of your total brain energy. When you multitask, it overheats. When you single task, it strengthens. Just 60 minutes of deep focus can generate the same dopamine as 3 hours of shallow activity. That's why focus doesn't drain you, it fuels you. Say it, focus feeds me. Seneca once wrote to Lucilius, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." If you chase every noise, you end up living in none. But if you guard your gaze, your energy multiplies. Think about a magnifying glass. The sun's rays are everywhere harmless, but focus them on one point and they burn through steel. That's not intensity, that's alignment. The Stoics treated their mornings like sacred fire. They knew that energy is the reward for disciplined focus. Marcus often reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it. Your mind decides what deserves your flame. Breathe in strength, exhale confusion. You don't need more time. You need fewer leaks. You don't need more motivation. You need more direction. Focus doesn't come from effort, it comes from elimination. Try this daily block, 90 minutes for Stoic work. No phone, no music, no multitasking. Just deep creation. When distraction comes, don't fight it, name it. This is craving, this is fear, this is noise, then return. Each return builds resilience. Epictetus compared the mind to a fortress. He said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Focus is how you reclaim the throne. Say it again, I rule my attention. Let's make it practical. Every time you feel drained, don't ask, why am I tired? Ask, where did I lose focus? Because energy doesn't vanish, it's simply misplaced. Bring it back, and you bring yourself back. That's why the Stoics didn't start their mornings with noise. They started with silence, the most powerful reset in existence. They journaled, reflected, breathed. They didn't chase calm, they created it. Say softly, focus creates peace. You can try this right now. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Inhale through your nose, notice one sound, one breath, one thought, and realize focus was never lost. It was only borrowed by noise. Marcus called this the return. Returning to yourself, returning to what you can control, returning to the inner empire that no one can tax, take, or distract. Focus is the Stoic's fuel. It doesn't just power your work, it powers your character. Because when your attention becomes disciplined, your energy becomes infinite. So tomorrow morning when you reach for your phone, stop. Reach for your focus instead. Reach for the journal, the breath, the one thing that actually moves the needle. And whisper to yourself, I don't chase energy, I create it. If this lesson helped you breathe deeper or think clearer, comment focus below. Share it with someone who's drowning in distraction. And prepare for part 9, protect your inner circle, where we'll explore how the Stoics guarded their energy not just from noise, but from people. Because sometimes what drains you isn't the world, it's who you let inside it. Part 9, protect your inner circle. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Because your energy, the very fuel of your discipline, depends on the company you keep. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. But he could have just as easily said, and the thoughts of those around you. Who you spend time with is who you silently become. Breathe in awareness, exhale attachment. Say it softly. Not everyone gets access. In ancient Rome, Marcus was surrounded by senators, generals, flatterers, and traitors. Yet he chose silence over gossip, philosophy over politics, truth over comfort. He knew that peace is not found in isolation, but in wise association. The Stoics had a term for this, eupatheia, the state of good emotion born from virtuous company. They believed that our minds mirror the people we interact with most. Seneca wrote, associate with those who will make you a better man. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. Let that sink in. If your circle doesn't challenge you, they're caging you. Say it with me. My circle defines my direction. We live in a time where noise is connection and silence feels like exile. But the truth is, not every connection is communion. The average person today consumes the emotional residue of over 300 people daily through feeds, comments, and conversations that never truly happen. We are drowning in others' opinions and starving for our own peace. The Stoics would see this as madness. They warned that constant exposure to chaos weakens the mind's muscle. Epictetus said, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Translation, not every crowd deserves your clarity. Take a breath and remember you are not obligated to engage every energy that enters your space. Your inner circle is sacred ground. It should contain 3 kinds of people. The wise, those who challenge your thoughts without attacking your worth. 2, the honest, those who tell you the truth even when it burns. 3, the peaceful, those whose presence calms your nervous system, not inflames it. Anything else is noise disguised as friendship. Say it softly. Peace over popularity. In 2023, Harvard's study of adult development, the longest study on happiness ever conducted, concluded that the single strongest predictor of well-being is the quality of one's relationships. Not wealth, not fame, relationships, but quality, not quantity. The Stoics already knew that. They lived it. Marcus Aurelius didn't keep thousands of followers. He kept a few confidants, Rusticus, who taught him humility, Frontus, who taught him logic, Antoninus, who taught him virtue. Each one sharpened him. Each one demanded truth. And when betrayal came, as it always does, Marcus wrote, when another blames you or hates you, remember that he acts under the compulsion of what seems to him to be right. That was his shield understanding instead of anger. Say it with me, I protect my peace, not my pride. You see, protecting your inner circle isn't about arrogance. It's about conservation of focus of spirit of time. Every unnecessary argument costs you clarity. Every fake friend costs you progress. Every toxic exchange costs you peace. And peace is expensive, don't sell it cheap. Seneca once said, no man can live happily who regards himself alone. He must have others to share his joy. Yes, you need people, but not just any people. You need intentional allies. The ones who remind you of who you are when you forget. The ones who say, keep going when you collapse. The ones who make your silence feel safe, not awkward. Say it aloud, I choose presence over popularity. Let's get practical. Here's the Stoic Circle Audit. 3 simple questions to protect your energy every morning. Who am I allowing into my mental space today? 2. Does this person elevate or drain my focus? 3. Would Marcus Seneca or Epictetus call this person a companion or a distraction? If the answer hurts good, truth often does. Because the wrong circle doesn't just waste your time, it rewires your mind. Modern psychology calls it emotional contagion. Spending time with anxious people raises your cortisol by 26%, but spending time with calm, disciplined minds lowers it by 37%. So your nervous system doesn't lie. It already knows who's good for you. Say it with me. My peace is my compass. The Stoics built their mornings around solitude because solitude isn't loneliness, it's leadership. It's where the emperor met the philosopher within himself. Marcus knew that ruling Rome was nothing compared to ruling his reactions. And that requires boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They're gates with conscious choice as the key. You can love people without letting them drain you. You can forgive without inviting them back in. You can care from a distance. As Epictetus said, what upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about them. So when someone tests your peace, you can choose judgment or you can choose mastery. Inhale respect, exhale reaction, whisper, not my storm. Remember, the greatest sign of strength isn't domination, it's discernment. Knowing who deserves your attention is the ultimate act of discipline. Marcus called it the art of choosing what not to care about. So protect your mind like a temple. Choose your circle like a garden. And when you find those rare few who share your vision, nurture them. Because greatness was never built alone, but it was built with intention. Say it one last time, I protect my inner circle. If this message helped you breathe clearer or think deeper, comment product below. Share this video with someone who's letting the wrong people drain their light. And prepare for part 10, Discipline Brings Freedom, where we'll uncover the ultimate Stoic paradox, how self-control becomes the highest form of liberation. Because once you master who enters your mind, you're finally ready to master yourself. Part 10, Discipline Brings Freedom. There's a paradox at the heart of Stoicism. To the undisciplined, discipline feels like a cage. But to the wise, discipline is the master key, the one that opens every locked door in the soul. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He didn't seek comfort, he sought command. Not command over people, but over impulses. Because he knew the man who conquers others may be powerful, but the man who conquers himself is unstoppable. Inhale awareness. Exhale resistance. Say it with me. Discipline is freedom. Let's break the illusion. The average person spends 3.1 hours a day on their phone, scrolling through other people's priorities, and then wonders why their life feels directionless. Seneca would have called it spiritual poverty, spending our most valuable currency, attention, on things that don't serve us. The Stoics believe that every distraction carries a hidden tax, the loss of self. Each time you surrender to comfort, you trade a piece of your potential for temporary relief. And when comfort becomes your master, freedom becomes your myth. Say softly, comfort is the cage. Discipline is the key. Discipline isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's the quiet act of designing your future, one decision at a time. Marcus didn't have luxury, he had structure. Each morning he rose before dawn, not to impress Rome, but to protect his peace. He wrote at dawn, when you have trouble getting up, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. That line wasn't about productivity, it was about purpose. Because once you begin treating your day as sacred, you stop negotiating with weakness. Modern psychology backs this up. People who create a consistent morning ritual report 72% higher self-control and 54% lower stress throughout the day. Consistency rewires the brain's prefrontal cortex, the region that governs discipline, attention, and emotional regulation. In short, when you master your mornings, you reprogram your freedom. Breathe in focus, breathe out doubt. Say, I own my morning. Here's the truth. The more you discipline your body, the freer your mind becomes. When you wake early, your mind stops being a servant to exhaustion. When you eat clean, your body stops being a prisoner to cravings. When you control your time, you stop being enslaved by chaos. The Stoics practiced ascesis, the art of voluntary hardship. They would walk barefoot in winter, sleep on the floor fast, or go without luxury, not because they enjoyed pain, but because they wanted to prove that nothing external controls the internal. Seneca wrote, set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare and roughest clothing, and ask yourself, is this what I feared? That was his way of training freedom. To him, discipline was rebellion, a quiet defiance against the easy life. Say it with me, I choose discomfort now to avoid regret later. You see, freedom isn't doing what you want. Freedom is having the strength to do what's right even when you don't want to. And that's where true power lives. Because the disciplined man wakes with direction, while the undisciplined man wakes with excuses. A Stoic day is built, not stumbled into. It begins with awareness, continues with action, and ends with reflection, not distraction. Marcus did this nightly writing. At day's end, ask yourself, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What did I leave undone? That's not self-criticism, that's self-command. And when you live this way long enough, something miraculous happens. Discipline stops being a struggle. It becomes your nature. Breathe in strength. Exhale fear. Say, I am my own master. When you train your discipline daily, you remove the chains of external validation. You stop chasing motivation and start embodying consistency. You don't wait for inspiration, you create momentum. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you deposit trust in your inner bank. And that trust compounds into unshakable confidence. That's why Stoics weren't obsessed with success. They were obsessed with integrity, because discipline is integrity in motion. Modern neuroscience proves this too. When you delay gratification, resisting the easy dopamine hit, your brain releases serotonin and endorphins, instead the chemicals of satisfaction and long-term peace. In other words, self-control literally changes your chemistry. Discipline doesn't just build your mind, it rewires your biology for calm. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, no man is free who is not master of himself. That is the Stoic gospel, that freedom is not granted by kings, not found in wealth, not written in laws. Freedom is a state of mastery. Say it with me, freedom is my discipline. So ask yourself tonight, where in your life have you mistaken comfort for peace? Where have you confused freedom with indulgence? And where can you start choosing discipline, not as control, but as clarity? Because when you say no to distraction, you say yes to destiny. When you say no to weakness, you say yes to wisdom. And when you say yes to discipline, you say yes to life itself. Say softly, I choose the hard path because it leads home. Discipline is the bridge. On one side stands who you are. On the other stands who you're meant to become. And every morning, every single dawn, you take one more step across. So the next time your alarm rings and your comfort whispers, remember this moment. Remember Marcus's words, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, because the world doesn't need more opinions, it needs examples. And your discipline can be one of them. Now breathe with me, and for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Say it. Discipline brings freedom. If this message moved, you share it. If it woke something in you, act on it. Because discipline is not a season, it's a lifestyle. And freedom is not found. It's forged every morning you rise. This is the Stoic way, and your life is your empire.